Hello, everyone.
Gotta go fast.
Welcome to a very special episode of Movie Nights at the Roundtable.
It's gonna be fast.
It's gonna be fast-ish.
Fast.
You're
the turtle.
We went to go see Sonic the Hedgehog last night. John went to see it 2 nights ago, I think. Yeah. So we wanted to give kind of our reactions to that movie.
Yeah.
Right off the top, there are two things that we should talk about. One is Sonic the Hedgehog has now broken the record for the biggest opening weekend for a video game movie ever.
Not surprised at all.
How do they measure that?
So I don't know. It's not
Numbers.
globally. Yeah, with numbers. Tickets sold, basically.
Okay. I hate when it's like they do like highest grossing whatever. And it's like, yeah, but money means different now than it did.
Well, it's domestic.
You know what I mean?
The previous winner was Detective Pikachu, so the inflation is not really there for like 1 or 2 years.
Well, if they do it by ticket sales, then that's fine. That's not people
basically
that went and saw it. That
you can either weigh it as
can't
like
change. Well, except for like accessibility to theaters, I guess.
Well, so a lot of times what they'll do for this, they'll usually just measure it in hard dollars, but there'll be a separate consideration for inflation.
Hard dollars.
I don't know how
I'll take the soft dollars.
I don't know how
I need to be able to.
That's all I have.
Into my
I have no idea
wallet.
how it accounts for like inflation. It may not be the most with inflation.
Sure.
I don't know about that. But domestically,
Honestly,
just
what else?
US dollars.
If it beat Detective Pikachu, I'm sure. What would have beat Detective Pikachu? Like, no.
Mortal Kombat.
I mean, I think Warcraft had a slower start.
I
but it
forgot
lagged
that
out.
was a movie. Do you think
It
that's
actually
a good
made
sign?
more money than Detective Pikachu ultimately?
Weird.
By not much. By like
Weird.
I think it was $6 million overall.
Did you see that, Ben? Was it good?
I did see it. It was not good.
Cool.
I didn't know anything about Warcraft, and I thought it was fine. I didn't really like enjoy it much, but I was like, okay, I could see there being things that
certainly did not break the cusp of goodness.
Yeah. It was not a movie where you're like, I can watch that again. Fuck
Yeah.
So the movie's doing well. What
Yeah.
do we? Can we talk about our opinions on it? Like, how do you want to
the other
structure
thing
this?
we should definitely talk. So first of all, we should stay away from spoilers for a while.
Yeah,
The movie
let's
is
start
actively in
with
theaters.
plot points. My favorite part
We'll
was...
warn you as soon as there's spoilers, but we should talk about what happened before this movie came out, which is that first original trailer that got released last year.
Set to the tune of Gangsta's Paradise.
Yeah, so we did a reaction video.
A great song,
I believe.
but wrong usage.
We did a reaction video for this last year when it first came out.
Looks good. They have the ring sound. Okay, I'm looking good. Green Hills. Okay.
Oh,
Acceptable. 760.
No, this is the real world.
The speed of sound.
it's James Marsden, who is
Cyclops
constantly.
and Tina Fey's boyfriend in 30 Rock.
Oh God.
So,
Okay.
All right. There's
So
rings
far-
sometimes.
This music is intense.
He's got a beanbag.
He's a hoarder.
He's got boy hands. What?
Why is there a small man
What?
in this furry costume?
No.
Oh. I kind of like it. I hope they keep it. Kidding.
What?
Why Gangsta's Paradise?
Yeah, right?
Because Sonic is cool.
Is it a commentary on the world we live in and the current
Sonic
state
is,
of the U.S.
just
today?
Sonic is cool.
Oh.
The song is cool because it's by Coolio.
You don't get much cooler than Coolio.
Oh no.
Maybe LL Cool J.
Oh.
Are you in charge here?
Oh my God.
Wrong.
Oh.
Charge. Allow me to clarify.
Oh dear.
In a sequentially ranked hierarchy based on level of critical importance,
It's literally just-
this is too vast to modify.
Jim Carrey playing
It's
Jim
just
Carrey.
Jim Carrey. It's just Ace Ventura.
Listen, pal. I don't know if you.
It's Johnny Depping it.
Sorry, Major. What was your name? Benny. Nobody cares.
Oh no.
This is coming out on my birthday, isn't it?
Ah! Oh, the teeth.
Meow.
This is a nightmare.
Okay, pal. I want.
Oh.
Basically, it looks like I'm gonna have to save your plan.
Okay,
So
the
he's
voice
riding
is
in a
fine.
car.
Voices.
I'll tell you what,
okay.
Ben Schwartz is doing a good job. That's all we could hope for from this.
Oh yeah, sure. The voice actor's okay.
Yeah.
But thank you for asking.
Jim Carrey's voice is okay, but
I always love Jim Carrey.
Just everyone, Cher's
can't
not
not
on
love Jim
camera,
Carrey.
but apparently she's lurking off to the side.
Neutralize it.
This is bad.
He's a dick.
Oh, Jim Carrey, no.
I see.
So he's the
I
Flash.
love you, but like, oh, you're making me sad now, Jim Carrey.
I actually
and Doctor Strange.
think
okay. So now
bigger-
here's like
has a
robots.
Genesis cute. The
Now it's
bigger
the coat.
issue is the 3D model of Jim Carrey. They really need to fix that.
Took 9 million steps today.
Now we're getting a Quicksilver segment.
Yeah.
That was predictable. Like that, you should have saw that coming.
Honestly, it's the model just looks all wrong.
But fixing the model's not going to fix everything else we're seeing right now.
Do you have your child in that bag?
This should not do a live-action Sonic movie. They should do a 3D, at best, Sonic movie.
That's actually a funny line.
An old ham sandwich.
That wasn't.
Again, the problems... Why are there mushrooms in the background?
And I recall our opinions being not good of that look. He looks like a shrunken down man, like not like a tiny person like Peter Dinklage, but like a man that has been fully like in all dimensions.
Yeah, like
and
Honey,
then
I Shrunk the Kids, but like halfway.
Yeah, but with like a big mascot head on.
He looks like Stewie from Family Guy when he's the old man
Yeah.
wearing a Sonic
yeah.
costume, you know?
Like he's
No, I
got
don't know.
skinny
No,
arms.
I'm totally right. Just trust me.
I
He's got
believe
skinny
you,
arms and
but I
legs,
don't-
and
I
he's
don't
got
know.
just white hands.
Yeah.
He doesn't wear gloves.
Yeah.
And it's like I usually don't care about like, oh, it's got to be exactly like the games, but like it was
It was objectively
weird.
bad.
It was just a weird look.
It was
I
not
feel like-
charming, and Sonic's all about being charming and
There's
lovable.
a reason that they put gloves on Sonic, because when it's just
What
got
do you do
paw
with them?
hands,
Yeah.
they look fucking weird. Look at cats. Do you remember that?
They get frighteningly close to showing you what Sonic's actual feet look like in this movie. Very brief. They show you his socks after he's
and
burned
his
them
footprint.
out.
Yeah.
And his footprint. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like you see
So
he's got
people
person feet.
Yeah.
But you
But
don't
that's
actually really
established
see
in
them.
the canon of the cartoons and the comics.
Oh yes, the canon of Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, where we've seen Sonic's like sound effect toes.
We'll call it the extended universe.
The extended
hasn't been-
ESU.
right.
Sega hasn't said it's not canon.
Yeah,
so
I
true.
believe this
That's
is
true.
the beginning of a beautiful extended Sonic cinematic
It
universe.
could very well be.
Yeah.
The other thing, so he had weird beady eyes that
We're
were
talking
very
about
far
the old
apart.
trailer, by the
Yeah,
way.
this
We're
is the
not
old
talking about the
trailer.
movie yet.
He had weird beady eyes that were
looked
very far away.
too human. The mouth looked too human.
You can see
everything
shading
looks
on
too
each
human.
tooth
Yeah,
really
yeah, yeah.
awkwardly. Where like most Sonic games, they'll do like the tooth shelf. It's a very common thing.
It was
cartoons.
very
bad.
uncanny valley.
I don't
Yeah.
actually think we need to spend a ton of time talking
No.
about this because the internet has done it today.
Yeah,
we've
the
all
new
seen it.
trailer generally much better. Generally portrays the actual plot of the movie a lot more correctly.
And we noticed a lot of the lines from the old trailer and the new trailer had changed.
Yeah.
So I don't think the animation was the only thing they retooled.
No,
I think
they
they were like,
clearly-
we've got a mess on our hands. Let's actually fix it
Let's
up.
pay attention.
I wouldn't be-
Let's care a little bit.
I would not be
like
surprised
a little bit.
if that entire intro sequence was brand new.
I think it probably
Before
was.
he comes through the ring in the first place,
Yeah.
might have been straight up new.
Yep.
So I guess the trailer is better, though it also gave a lot more away. We were talking about.
Yeah, it felt like every major beat of the movie was in that trailer.
Yeah.
So you don't know that when you're seeing the trailer. So you're like, cool, I'm going to go see it.
yeah,
But then when
I can't wait to see what else the movie has to
Yeah.
offer.
and then you're like,
It's not a whole lot more.
Not a
Right.
lot more.
Just
There's a
time.
bit more, but not
there's
a lot.
more. But yeah. It was very But that's very common. We can't even fault it. That's all
That's how
movies these
trailers
days.
are
Someone
done, yeah.
does someone want to try to give a synopsis of the movie without delving into spoilers?
I can try.
Okay, go for it.
Sonic is from another dimension.
Well, spoiler.
Well, technically, yes, you're right. But I think you can tell that from the trailer. I
Yeah.
won't spoil anything that you can infer from the trailer.
That's fair. Yeah.
From another dimension, and he is raised by a giant beep. And eventually he gets.
Well, you can't say that
Well,
on
I
here,
can't.
John.
I can't spoil it.
Jesus Christ.
Ben.
I don't know how you give a synopsis without giving any spoilers.
Wow.
That's
So
all I'm-
Sonic is super powerful because he can go fast, and that's rare
I'm
even
talking
in,
like
in
late-
his
late game
dimension.
spoilers.
Even in his dimension.
Late game spoilers.
So he gets warped into the human world to escape a threat from his world. But the problem is he's so powerful that eventually he's discovered and he gets threatened in Earth. So the story is about him sort of coming in to get to know a person because he's been hiding in the shadows until then and he needs help. So he eventually convinces this person to help him and it becomes a whole deal. And the government sends Doctor Robotnik, who at this point is just like a Men in Black style government shill.
Yeah.
Government
scientist. kind of
Government
thing.
scientist,
Yeah.
right. Government scientist guy who's like, even the government hates, but they're like, we need him because it's a mysterious energy force.
Yeah.
So, and that's Jim Carrey, obviously, which we'll talk about. And then that sort of evolves into the conflict. I'm trying to not spoil.
No, that's fine.
And then we get Sonic versus Robotnik, and then some stuff happens.
Yeah.
And the movie ends, and it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I feel like
No,
I don't
that
want
wasn't
to spoil
bad. That
things.
wasn't bad.
So,
As synopses go, that was.
he
that
gets
was
the
pretty
human
easy.
friend.
He's trying to hide. He gets found out. Bad guys want to catch him.
It's an escape road trip.
He
style
makes friend
movie.
with a human, and the human tries to help him.
Yeah, it's an escape road trip buddy style movie. It's
right,
like the
'cause they're
three
fleeing,
main.
and there's a lot of driving with
Yeah.
Chris Cross from 30 Rock.
So much
Yeah.
drive.
Tom Wachowski.
Tom Wachowski,
played
yep.
by James Marsden.
Marsden.
Not to be confused with James Marsters, who is Spike on Buffy the Vampire
different
Slayer.
Very different person.
Very different person.
And I actually like James Marsden. Now that you said the other one,
was all right.
I
He
keep
was pretty
getting
good.
confused.
Yeah.
But I think he gets a lot of shit, but I think he's fine.
Yeah.
You know?
Ben Schwartz as the voice of Sonic.
He did a
was
great job.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Nailed
very,
it.
Very lovable, much less shrill and annoying than Sonic has been portrayed in the past.
Yep.
Nothing against Jaleel White. I think they had a good chemistry, actually.
They did,
their
yeah.
lines, their back and forth was good.
I've seen some really painful movies where it's like, you know, you do the planes, trains, and automobiles style, like two people sort of stuck together dynamic, and like in some movies it works, and in some movies it is awful, and you just hate every second that those two characters are together. But this one, like, it does a good job of making it very they have a lot of friction at the start, but they kind of like grow to appreciate each other and like really have each other's
It
back
feels
kind of
natural and as believable as it could in this movie.
It is ultimately
I think that's how to say it.
basically a kids movie. So like you have to have to throw a little bit
Very strongly a kids movie,
Yeah.
and I think that may have even shifted towards that from the original trailer, the original vision.
I think that is what happened.
They made
I think
Sonic
like,
a lot cuter.
let's actually like care about the demographic that cares about this mostly,
Which I'm fine.
because it's
I'd rather-
it's a little bit people that used to play Sonic, and I think more so kids now.
All the people
'Cause
our age who
this-
used to play Sonic, many of them have kids.
right.
So it's the perfect movie for that.
There's overlap.
Well, we talked about this a little last night, obviously not on camera, but like we're in a spot where we're gonna see. I mean, not like it's a new phenomenon, but like every 30 years is when the retro wave hits for a given piece of media, because the people who grew up with that thing are now adults and have the capacity to create a new thing.
Yeah, and also like they can have kids that are like just old enough to start appreciating those things that you appreciated when you're a kid. So
that's why we've got a Sonic movie. That's why we're getting a Mario movie. That's why there's a Mega Man movie in the works. Like all of these things are happening because the people who grew up with this in the 80s and 90s are now old enough to be making these decisions.
But I gotta say, one of the most magical things for me being in the theater is seeing how fucking pumped the kids were. I went to the bathroom after, and there's just a bunch of little boys in there, which sounds creepy. Came out wrong, but they're all just ecstatic. They're just screaming like, "Can you believe that? Do you remember when that happened? Do you remember when you saw the thing at the end?" And like, wow! And they were as excited as I would have been as a 6-year-old, as an 8-year-old,
right.
and it like kind of warmed my heart to see that, because you don't, you think that magical time when you're a kid and Sonic's your thing, you know, like.
It was
you think
never
that's
my
gone, but
thing,
it's that for them, and I was actually really excited to see that.
Yeah, that like Sonic is clearly in the midst of like a really strong revival after Sonic Mania Adventures.
Yeah, good point.
All of these things have like there's obviously missteps. Team Sonic Racing did fine. It was
a fine game.
It was both really good and really bad at both at various times.
There's been so many worse Sonic games though.
Absolutely.
I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, if
dude.
we were to rank all of the Sonic games, it'd be nowhere near the bottom. Like not even close.
Well said.
Sonic Forces obviously was a big like.
It was fine. It was honestly a B- C+ 3D Sonic game.
It was
when
when Sonic
cross
Mania
that
came
bridge
out.
because we haven't actually played Sonic Force.
No, we have.
yet.
We did.
We did.
Did
on the
we?
channel,
We did it
yeah.
when it came out. Yeah. Sonic Mania came out. It was
The
amazing.
same as all the other 3D Sonics.
I think the problem for me was that Sonic Mania was driven mostly by hardcore fans that built it. And then Sonic Forces was built by Sonic Team, and people were not really into it.
Sonic Forces is that one.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was the dark
pseudo-military
apocalyptic
Where
one.
you make your persona.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
Right, yes.
Which
All
I mean,
you need to do is say that, and I would have
if
been.
anything, I thought that was a really cool addition to the game. I wish
I
they went
think so
further
too,
with it.
yeah.
Like more animal species to work with or something would have been a big
sexualize
help.
them more. Exactly.
Yeah, big bird titties.
Yeah.
I just wish they played either more different or less different, but
Yeah.
the fact that there were subtle differences between all three modes was annoying. You know?
Yeah, it got tricky to remember, but regardless.
Whatever, this is not about Sonic
So
Forces.
Sonic is in
Sorry,
the midst of
I
a pretty
drove down
decent
that
brand
road.
revival, I'd say.
Yeah.
A lot of the performances in this movie were pretty decent. I'd say that Sonic and Tom, being the main characters, were really strong. The third member of that trio was Jim Carrey as Robotnik, and he annoyed the shit out of me. Oh my god!
I'm sure he did exactly what everyone
he wanted.
No, I think that's what everyone wanted him to do.
Yes.
I think he wanted to be like, I'm gonna be in this movie and I'm gonna be Jim Carrey, and they're like, that's exactly what we want. Just be in this movie and be you, Jim Carrey.
Because he is a draw. He's like the legitimacy added to this movie that a lot of people were probably like, really?
Kick-Ass 2 got a bit of a boost from that too. Like same
What
thing
did?
was like Kick-Ass 2.
Yeah.
Granted, he then started being like before the movie came out, he like was like, don't see the movie, and that kind of had like a reverse
was
reaction.
Jim Carrey in Kick-Ass too?
He was. He played Colonel Stars and Stripes, I think.
Yeah.
He was the like super military dude, but
he was. I feel like he must have been much more prominently featured in the Sonic movie than in Kick-Ass 2. Yeah?
I don't remember.
All right,
I
whatever.
haven't seen
Forget
Kick-Ass
it.
2.
I
But
just think it's just a terrible miscast. casting. I think they needed some extra star power. Jim Carrey was willing to do it.
Yeah.
And I think they rode around that a little bit.
I don't know. What were the actual 2020 6-year-old and 8-year-old kids saying about Jim Carrey? Did they think he was funny? Because if so,
I
then
didn't stay in the bathroom with the little boys long enough to get their full review.
I will say,
I think that's what matters. You know?
On the one hand, I'm impressed that 35 years later, he's still got just as much like vibrant, goofy, slapstick energy as he did back in his like Ace Ventura days.
I think he a little less physical.
A little less physical.
Facial. He can do all the facial comedy.
Yeah. Well, he did an interview
before that seems weird.
Yeah.
It is.
We
he's
do a lot of
great
facial
control of
comedy
his
here on the D-pad.
physicality.
Yeah. But he wasn't. Well, is that the one dancing scene? But he wasn't like jumping all over the place.
He wasn't doing contortion stuff like he did way back then. But I mean, he's
fucking 50-something now.
More than. He's probably
I
close
wouldn't
to
hate him
60
so much if he wasn't Robotnik, or even if they called him Kintobor, which is what they do in the comics before he becomes this abomination.
Before he becomes Robotnik.
He's just a weird doctor
Ivo
named Kintobor. And then he goes through this transformation and becomes Robotnik.
Is that Robotnik backwards?
Yes, it is.
Ovi Kintobor, because comic writers in the 90s were not good.
That's awful.
The 90s were a fucking
Hey, the
dead
Sonic
zone.
comics are fun. I don't think
the
they're
current
good.
ones are fine.
Why can't it
I had
just
a couple of the
be
old ones.
Fucking James
Marsden.
Sparter, or like just a fucking
James and the Giant
name,
Marsden.
and he's like, I really like robots. You call me Robot, or his name was Nicholas. Nicholas.
Robotnik, I believe is Robotnik. I'm pretty sure is literally just the Russian word for a robot worker.
Probably, yeah.
Like it's just they just.
But he
went
wasn't
with that.
Russian in this movie.
No, he's never been Russian.
So I think ultimately
Yeah.
it is about his development as a villain and his growing rivalry with Sonic.
Which I wish he reined it in a little bit at the start. That would have made a
Exactly.
huge difference. 'Cause by the end, he can be like
had nowhere
manic
to
and
go.
pissed off and furious.
Yeah.
But at the beginning, he's doing bzz, bzz, that shot from the trailer with Stone. The doctor thinks you're basic. That bit is literally the first shot of Robotnik. Is his like who's in charge here?
He starts at a 10 and just kind of goes 9, 10, 9, 10 throughout the movie.
If
so
he
he's got
started
nowhere to
a
go.
little
He's-
laid back, like if he started with like who's in charge here? Oh no, see it's me. We're gonna like if he started a little more smooth and got more frantic as he started losing. I think that might have been more of a like okay, I'm believing this more than a guy who's just this.
I just think it's not quite the right casting. Although I'm interested to see what they do with him if there's a future movie.
I think that was probably more of a directing thing than a casting thing.
Also
I think so, yeah. I love Jim Carrey dramas are really good.
He can act, but he just doesn't most of the time.
Yeah.
Well,
but again,
dude,
if
you
you're
can
the
get paid
director
to
of this
not
movie,
act, like I would do
right.
that.
If you're the director of this movie and you're trying to make a film that makes
That's
money,
what I'm
and you
thinking.
have Jim Carrey, that's the move. And so I don't really fault anyone, not even Jim Carrey. I just think like there's this comedian that I follow, Henry Zabrowski, who's he's like my height, chubby guy,
and that's
bright
why.
red hair, and he's made for this part, and he auditioned, and he would have been perfect.
Was he a guy from like Dorkly or College Humor or something?
Perhaps, I don't know. He's on the last podcast now, but he's been on like
one of the ones that got laid off.
If it would have been There's not
Pretty
really
Faces
anyone
Going to
left.
Hell. He was on, and like all this stuff that you. I think that might have been College Humor.
But you can't. But they didn't want to cast someone like
didn't
that.
want to
They
cast
want to
someone who's
cast
less known.
Literally, their name is Jim Carrey.
Exactly,
and is Jim Carrey.
And that's it. Because like, Henry Zabrowski would have been better. He wouldn't have brought the star power, and maybe the movie wouldn't have been successful. So I can see both sides.
Yeah.
But he would have in costume. He would have been a great Robotnik, and he's got that vibe too. That sort of like manic thing.
This isn't the guy I was thinking of, but he looks a lot like him.
Yeah, he would have been great. And he's got that sort of like actual Robotnik vibe, that sort of like threatening, manic, a little bit of an absent-minded professor, but still threatening.
Yeah.
Whereas Jim Carrey doesn't really have that.
It's just Jim Carrey.
Exactly, And I hated Ace Ventura as a kid. I was like, I remember being 7 and being like, this is stupid.
They also,
but some people eat it up.
Yeah,
most
I
people
know.
eat it up,
True.
and that's.
I
what
can think of
matters,
exactly 2 scenes off the top of my head where Jim Carrey was in. 2 scenes where Jim Carrey actually interacted with other cast members besides Agent Stone, his buddy. Most of the movie he spent in his truck or in his Eggmobile, which would have definitely been on a green screen and not, around the scene. There's a scene where he's at the police station in Green Hills, and there's a scene at the very beginning where he's investigating stuff. Every other scene he's in, I'm relatively sure he is not physically present for any of that. So that's definitely a case of like
when he goes to the house.
Or sorry, the house. That's right. Yeah,
there's
so
a
3,
few, but it doesn't really matter. I don't think that it was a little
It
weird
doesn't super matter. It's just one of those things where like they clearly like Jim Carrey, let's do this. All right, what are your stipulations? Like I'll be on set, but I gotta do it within like 4 days,
right?
And I'll do the rest in a green screen in a studio. We can go wherever for that, but like I gotta get back home.
It did kind of feel like that. There were a couple moments where like, why is he not here for this, or why are they even showing this, or like it's just a weird.
And a lot of it was him sitting in his plane or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Minor thing. Unless Green Hills, Utah is a real place.
Montana.
Oh, it was Montana? Unless Green Hills, Montana is a real place.
I don't think it is.
Just fucking call it Green Hill. It would have been fine. Like,
so here's
just
the
really
thing.
bugged me for some reason.
At the very beginning of the
doing
movie,
the reference, but like it's just off.
I don't think it's actually real.
If it's not real, it should have been Green Hill.
Well, here's the thing.
That still sounds like a town.
In the beginning of the movie, you've got Sonic running around. This isn't really a spoiler. It's literally the first moment of the thing. You have him running around in Green Hill Zone.
What looks like Green Hill Zone.
So he went from Green Hill Zone to Green Hills, Montana, just by dumb luck. Like, that's one of those weird contrivance kind of things. I'm like, it could have been named anything.
Right.
I wish that there was.
I guess they didn't name it
a
Green
state
Hill Zone,
abbreviation that was like ON, because
Ontario.
Green Hills.
Green Hills, Ontario.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I get that.
There we go.
Well,
I think we have a
are
couple.
the second letters of Montana, so this goes all the way to the top.
Whoa. Green Hills Moan. Oh, my God.
Nailed it.
Green Hills Moan is oh no, that was Black Snake Moan.
Yes, yeah. So
the
like,
hilltop sign was cute.
Yeah, they show that in the trailer. They have a few references. They actually had fewer references than I was expecting, which I'm glad about. I didn't want them to just be like, boom, 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 boom.
Well, they very prominently referenced a blue hedgehog. That was in a lot of
scenes.
So.
Actually, all right. I'm trying to think if there's any non-spoilery stuff, because I feel like we're starting to like get to the line.
We're on the line, yeah.
I guess we should talk about really briefly. I don't think there's much like purpose to it, but a lot of the references
at the end we can
have.
do like 60 seconds of like, hey, in a minute we're going to talk spoilers, so stop now.
Yeah,
like if we wanted.
Well,
to
let's talk references. I don't think these are huge spoilers,
sure.
but the references to the Sonic games that they have in there, they didn't have many. Very beginning, he's running around in Green Hill Zone.
Yep.
He's being chased by an echidna tribe.
Yeah.
At the very beginning.
If you say so, I couldn't really tell if they were
echidnas
definitely
or not. Meant to look like echidnas.
Yeah,
1000%.
so I'm just gonna throw. I'm just gonna
plausible
lob
deniability. They may or may
contenders.
not.
I've got a bad idea in my hand. I'm just gonna toss it up in the air and we'll see what happens. Ready? Fuck Ken Penders. Okay, cool. Anyway, so I don't know. I'm wondering.
Just said fuck
can
Ken
you quickly
Penders,
in 2 sentences recap the whole Ken Penders thing for people who might not know?
He was a writer for the Sonic comics way back in the 90s. He did a lot of work on the lore of the Echidna tribes in particular, including against the like editor in chief's wishes. There was a constant like struggle back and forth for power editorially, and at some point, Sega messed up and let the contract expire, and Ken went, well, this is all of my shit, bye, they let it expire, and they couldn't find the original contract that stipulated their ownership of the stuff that Ken created. So Ken went, well, I guess can't prove it. This shit's mine.
I think
and he
more
walked
like
away
4
with
or
it.
5 sentences, but pretty good job.
But now he's got the Lara Sue Chronicles, I think, or no, Julie Sue Lara Sue, I forget which. But he does.
Lame?
It is lame. It looks really weird, and it's very lame. And
he just seems like a.
Yeah,
I don't know anything about him, but the very
a-
little I do know about him, I absolutely hate him.
As a result of that clash, Sega completely abandoned all of the, because they were building a pretty decent amount of lore about like, the ancient Echidna tribe. Sonic Adventure does it.
I
think Sonic Chronicles gets into it a lot as well. Like there's a few things that nowadays they just don't do it. Knuckles is the last Echidna. Period.
Right.
End of story.
So we were
They
surprised
don't
to
get
see
into
it in the movie, and again, it's in like the first scene. So don't.
So
worry.
I'm wondering. So they don't explicitly like. They make it clear enough it's echidnas. They don't call them echidnas. They don't show them enough where you couldn't explain away. Oh, they're actually a red hedgehog tribe. And blah, blah.
Right.
So,
But like,
who knows?
they're
It's
obviously
pretty close.
echidnas. I'm wondering if they either just said "fuck him," we're going to do it anyway, or if they paid him ahead of time, been like, "We're going to give you this money as a pre-settlement, so that we don't have to deal with a stupid lawsuit."
I
while we do
bet
this."
they just fucking did it because you can't copyright echidnas. Like they created Knuckles, so they're
Dude,
just
if the big brain move right here, right? They just use echidnas in the movie, right? So they make their money from the movie, and the money that they make, a portion of the money that they make from the movie is set aside just in case they get sued by him. So they've already made their money by using, and
not to mention,
and can use echidnas.
Any future
and they can
sequels,
wear away at his claim at the copyright for echidnas.
Well, any future sequels, or if God forbid they make a video game of the movie kind of situation. If he doesn't sue them over this, they essentially have free reign to continue using that.
They're trying to
in the context of Sonic the Hedgehog. The
trying
movie.
to push the toe the line. Is that
and maybe like Paramount's lawyers are better than Sega's. So
well, that's the thing. Is that's the reason
what's
Nintendo is so. That's the reason Nintendo gets so litigious over like fan games and stuff. It's like if you let anything slip by, it damages your chance of being able to defend your copyright later.
Not to go way off track, really quick, 3 sentences.
That's how the AM2R, I think, the Metroid 2 fan game remake project went, because they were actively working on their own remake.
Do you know why Nintendo
Project
started
M2,
being so litigious? Because one of the Howards was originally Nintendo of America's legal counsel.
Okay.
And they got sued by
Not
Universal for using Donkey Kong because they thought it
yeah.
implied King Kong. And they were expected to just get totally destroyed, shut down in court, wrecked. And he went through all the paperwork that Universal had, and they never actually copyrighted the term King Kong.
Yep.
So Nintendo was found innocent, and
Yeah,
they
it's like-
copyrighted the shit out of it.
Yeah,
From that
they're
point
like,
on,
we're never
they were
letting-
ultra aggressive
Yeah.
in terms of litigiousness.
Because I mean, they learned the lesson of like,
Yeah.
if you mess that up, you can
Right.
get totally pantsed in
Right.
front of everybody.
Yeah.
Like it's
And man, Universal, whew,
yeah,
that was
yeah.
they were not happy.
They were not pleased about that. If anything, it's surprising that Super Nintendo World is coming to Universal Studios Japan after
long
all
time,
that.
30 years. You know, maybe all those people died.
Do you think they're going to have a Donkey Kong fighting King Kong thing there? That'd be fun.
I never really thought, like, I mean, I guess it sounds stupid, but I never was like, oh yeah, King Kong and Donkey Kong are the same thing.
Right?
I
like
just never.
Kong.
Maybe I should have.
Isn't it just short for Congo?
I would have thought it'd be short for Congo.
I don't know.
But I don't know.
Whatever.
But so, wow, we got way off track.
Sure
We
did,
Penders,
but it was fun.
but yeah, so we get the Echidna tribe.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
so
that's a
big
reference.
reference. Longclaw, I think, is like this owl that
Yeah.
is
Again,
Sonic's
first scene,
teacher.
not a spoiler.
Apparently,
Sonic's
completely
Guardian.
We're just in spoilers now. Just
Yeah.
admit it.
Well, no, we're doing
No.
references. Just like we're just covering that because like
This is a tiny spoiler for the first scene.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to say it?
yeah. For the
I
first
think
scene,
they
yes.
invented Longclaw so they could kill her off without pissing anyone off.
Yeah, like they're not going to do Uncle Chuck and then be like,
Right.
"Boonk, oh God!" Like,
Right. And I think that's the only reason I can get to why the
Probably.
writers created that character.
Yeah.
But like that's, I don't know. Like fuck that. That's dumb.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Stupid.
dumb.
To create a character and have them die in literally the first
Well,
scene.
so-
like, well, then I don't care.
Yeah.
Like,
I
oh, there
think
was.
They did as well as they could. They needed some reason for him to get
Yeah.
into Earth.
Yeah.
So rings as
I
teleportation devices or portals, I guess,
Yep.
is a thing that's been going on since the very first game.
Totally.
Has it? Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
Sonic 1, Sonic 3 both use
Yep.
them to get to special stages.
It doesn't quite work
Oh,
like
yeah,
it does in the
yeah,
movie,
yeah.
but it's pretty close.
It's
No, yeah,
pretty
yeah.
similar
enough for me.
ultimately.
Sonic just finds them. He never has them and decides to do it. They're just there.
There's Green Hills, Montana, as the
Yeah.
so there was there was a Green Hills zone in one of the Game Gear games, and I can't remember which one. I'm gonna say Sonic 2
Right.
for Game Gear. I'm probably getting that wrong. I know there was Green Hill Zone in Sonic 1, but there was another one.
I
that
mean,
was in
pretty
there.
major spoiler, but when they do pan out in Green Hills,
Yeah.
there are multiple hills.
That's true.
It's
There
not
are
just
several.
one hill.
Some
Yeah.
of which are green.
Yep, most of which.
Sonic's got his little bachelor pad situation, and he
Yeah.
plays ping pong on a road sign for Hilltop Road, which I thought was cute.
Which is cute. Yeah, I like that one.
After that, there's not a lot of real references in
his
the movie.
bed, the wheels are like red, white, and blue with a star, but it doesn't really look like the bumpers
Okay.
from. But I thought
Oh.
maybe. But then I was like,
yeah.
am I just overthinking this?
I
Is it a
think you
coincidence?
are.
You know, like
I was waiting for other set locations to be named after stuff like I don't even know. There's a bar. There's like a rowdy bar called the Pistol Pit, I think, or something like that. And I was expecting that to maybe get because what's the name of the in the credits they clearly use Mirage Saloon zone as like sprites for like because they do a thing in the credits where they
the
play through
intros and
the movie
outros have
again.
like pixely art
Yeah.
things happening, which
But
is
like
kinda fun.
they could have called it the Mirage Saloon and probably been like, oh, all right,
Yeah,
that
actually,
seems fitting. That would have been
fine.
fine.
That's a
I
missed
did-
opportunity. Yeah.
Didn't even notice what the name of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
bar was.
I think it was
so,
Pistol Pit.
Just
I might
do
have been
that.
wrong.
Like, why
Yeah.
not?
So yeah, there
Yeah.
weren't a ton of references, but I feel like if there had been many more, I probably would have been like, all right.
Yeah,
like,
there's
we
one
get
more
it.
at the end, but obviously that's
Yeah, we can't.
spoilers, so
Yeah,
we won't
yeah.
get into that. Actually, right away, fairly early in the movie, there's one more that they do, and they actually make a kind of a double reference, which was
I
cute.
don't know the reference at the end.
He's,
But I don't know
uh,
anything about
Can
Sonic.
you just tell us and beep it later?
I
don't know.
We'll
what
get
you're
there.
talking
We'll
about.
get there.
Okay,
I'll bring it up. But like,
we'll bring it up in the
so
last
his
60
thing is
seconds.
he's trying to
Is
escape
it
from these
where
guys.
he goes? Is that
Well,
the-
well, that's the thing is like he's talking about like, all right, the plan is if I'm going, if I get found here, I have to go to the next place. That's the
Yeah,
plan. Is he's
okay,
just going to
yeah.
keep running away.
All right.
And two big things there. One at the very, so he's got like a ring, like Thor style Bifrost.
Oh yeah.
Yggdrasil map of the world. So it's all in the same universe. At the beginning, it's like it's on the far end of the universe. You're going to be far away. At the very top of the map is the Sega Saturn logo.
Oh, I didn't see that. That's
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
as one of the planets that he
That's
can
kinda
escape
fun.
to, which is interesting
Nice
because
tie-in.
apparently a Sonic movie has been roughly in the works since 1993. And
it cannot be continuously.
The closest they ever got with it was going to be as a tie-in to Sonic Extreme, which was a major reason it just didn't happen.
Sure.
So Sega Saturn right there, probably a little homage. Also, that movie sounded terrible because it was going to be about a 12-year-old boy who accidentally releases Sonic and Doctor Robotnik from his game console, which is the worst, like reverse Captain N bullshit.
Yeah.
But that character's name was going to be, I believe, John Pinsky as opposed to Mike Wachowski. It's like just
Tom Wachowski.
similar. John Pinsky to Tom Wachowski.
Weird.
It's like just
so it's almost
similar
a nod
enough.
Okay.
Where it's like, all right, but I think that might be.
Is he the hidden third? No, that's Wachowski sibling.
The Wachowski. They go Wachowski. In this, it's spelled the same, but it's pronounced Wachowski.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But not to be confused with Mike Wazowski from Monsters Inc.
Right, they're all related.
They're all related. They just spell them differently.
The Wachowski universe.
Yeah. But so the next world that he can escape to is a world that's full of mushrooms.
Yeah.
Which, whether that's meant to be floating island or not, it's a big mushroom. It clearly is meant to be inspired by Mushroom Hill Zone.
That's what I thought.
But they have the double meaning in there where he's like, all right, here we go. Next world is going to be a world full of mushrooms. Mm-hmm. I hate mushrooms. And it's sort of like this little, tiny little kick to Mario.
That's what I, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. That was probably not the most eloquent way to say that, but I panicked.
It sounded like that woman who fell when she was doing the grapes.
That's the noise I made when the recording stopped, everyone.
Yeah. Oh, God. I'm going to do one of these. And I'll probably chop that down audio-wise.
Right.
But yeah, no, it was clearly meant as a double thing, both for Mushroom Hill Zone and for Mario and Nintendo and stuff, which was kind of cute. Yeah. They did not do the obvious thing that would have been like, oh, here's him playing on an old Genesis he found somewhere. He's playing.
I feel like there should have been a plumber somewhere in the movie.
When he becomes electrocharged, when he does the his rolling, or his
he
fast
does a
speed, I kind of feel like that sort of it could be tied into the fact that he can do the shield thing in Sonic 3 and
they do play the Green Hill Zone theme. Near the end, they have a soft little.
I wish they did a little bit more of using the music from the game.
I was listening.
They only used it a few little bits.
And it's not like you're trying to work in the music from Mortal Kombat, which was an afterthought.
Yeah.
Sonic has got some of the best music in games.
It does. They
could have done a lot more with it.
The last one I can think of is at the very beginning, and the one that kind of endeared me immediately to was kind of like, oh, all right, this is gonna. They're at the very beginning, and they show this in one of the trailers. Normally, Paramount they have sweeping over water, and they come up on the mountain. It says Paramount, and they got all the stars, and they replace those with rings.
Yeah.
And they actually, rather than playing the usual Paramount, is that the ones like the bum 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 or something?
Yeah, I don't know.
So instead of doing that, instead of doing that, they play like a. Like they do a little Green Hill Zone. Okay, all right, that's kind of cute. Yeah. Not the first time they've done that. I think Scott Pilgrim also had for the Universal logo had a very similar.
I think
thing.
The take home is this passes the test of a video game movie where it feels like some of the people involved with making it actually care about Sonic.
Yeah. Compared to Super Mario Brothers,
night and day.
Oh, completely.
Maybe as all movies go, this is a B-, C+.
Yeah,
but as video game movies go, I think it's an A. And as compared to my expectations, it's an A++ 1,000.
Yeah, it's much better than I thought it was going to be.
I think I was saying last night on the scale of all movies ever.
Yeah,
it's like a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, it's
fine. It's better than neutral. It's
better than neutral.
It's good. But if you reduce the scale to just video game movies or video game adaptations or even just kids movies, it's that's more like a 7 or 8 out of 10. It's pretty fucking good.
I like Ben Schwartz and James Marsden, and they have good chemistry, and some of the jokes land really well, I thought.
It's more.
The worst part about the jokes is that I've seen them already in the trailers.
Yeah,
right. That's true.
That kind of sucked.
The writing wasn't terrible, which again I was fully expecting it to be.
It was a more enjoyable movie than I think any other video game movie that I've actually watched in terms of film quality.
You didn't see Detective Pikachu?
I have not yet, no.
The beginning of Detective Pikachu is awesome, and the ending is just balls out wackadoo suck.
Okay.
So I actually like Sonic more, even though Pikachu has better moments, moments.
I did think the Mewtwo reveal in the trailer set to I Need a Hero was a pretty whoa, okay, they're just blowing this load real early.
And just wait till you see how it's done in the movie. Yeah. It is so dumb,
right? It's worth seeing. It's enjoyable.
You should see it just so we can bitch about it. Okay. Watch it together so we can do one of these.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll do that. I have it down. I have it bought on YouTube. So
good.
I'll have to give that a look.
Dude, I would do that this weekend if you want.
So
do it
we
right
should
after
probably
this.
let's get into some spoilers. I think we've kind of exhausted most of the stuff we can do without. So if you don't want spoilers,
Feel like
jump to this
past
point,
it, but-
and I think we'll give closing thoughts right there.
Yeah.
This is your last warning. We're gonna get into spoilers right away.
5, 4, 3, 2, spoilers, go.
Okay.
Tails!
Yeah. Tails was he looked a little like Baby Sonic from the start of the movie,
Yeah,
which is kind of
yeah.
cute.
Which I'm okay with, yeah. And
That's
like,
how he's like 8, right?
his voice
Yeah,
was
he's supposed to be
perfect.
younger.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a man or a woman, and I don't care because
Yeah.
that's how Tails should be.
Yeah.
It's usually a woman for Tails.
Yep.
It's
I
either
thought
a woman or a boy.
I thought he sounded great.
Yeah.
And he almost reminded me of Aang's voice from the original Airbender.
Okay, I can see that, yeah.
And that's a huge compliment. That voice actor is incredible.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was super excited to see that, and I was surprised again that I was excited at the possibility of a greater Sonic cinematic universe.
Yeah.
But I was genuinely, you know.
I thought so during the movie. There's a point where Robotnik gets Sonic's quill, and I was like, oh well, his whole thing is that he builds drones and he's trying to like beat Sonic, match Sonic, something. The obvious direction to go is he's going to build Metal Sonic, and that's gonna be his thing. But they don't do that. They use his quill to match his speed to the point where they
He
actually
uses it as
have
a power source
Yeah.
for the badniks.
They do a really good job.
Or, no, they don't have badniks
just for his
yet,
Eggmobile.
just for his eggs.
I like the little like reveal of like, all right, he's gonna hit the button. What's gonna happen? It's like, like all of a sudden he's in supersonic like slow down speed. Now it's like, oh, okay, all right, that's an interesting use for that. I guarantee. So the last thing you see of Robotnik is him with the red coat, the fucked up mustache, the goggles, which make a sound when he puts them on, even though there's no strap. We were all like, "There's
I
no
didn't even
strap."
notice that, but that's fine.
It's
I was
so
like-
audible at the very end.
I noticed that when he had the goggles up, they weren't attached to anything,
Yeah.
and then from that point on, I was like hyper focused on. I was
Yeah.
like, how are they staying on his head and face?
Well, so at
But
the,
like that's just me being weird.
in the final fight, Sonic has his Thor rebirth moment in the middle of the street, and he's like, "You have something that belongs to me," and he literally like sends out electricity to his quill that's in like the front console of the Eggmobile.
Right.
I thought he was pulling it out through the console and taking it back,
But he
wasn't.
Apparently
he, was
he
just,
didn't.
Which
That's
is
what I
probably good
thought,
because if
too.
he could do that, we'd be like, that's a little bit of a stretch of his power.
He's
You
using
know,
it to like supercharge himself even
Sure.
more, kind of thing,
Yeah,
and burn
yeah.
it up. But so at the end of the movie, Robotnik gets sent through to Mushroom Hill Zone,
Yeah.
and he's got the quill still.
Stranded. Yep.
He's stranded, and he's already been there for about 3 months. I think it said on the bottom is like day 87 or
Sure.
something.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, okay, he's been there for a while, and he's as manic as he was through the movie. He's visibly losing his mind way more.
And I love the way they did that. I actually,
Yeah.
it doesn't.
But it should have been more of a gradual thing from the beginning.
From the
to
beginning,
that
and then
point.
like you get
So
to the
this
top where you
is-
think it is, and then now in the outro, he's just like nuts.
This is my argument, though. We were all pissed because Jim Carrey's Robotnik from all the trailers was not the Robotnik we knew.
Yeah.
And
Except
it was
for that
so
one little
off.
stinger shot from
Right.
the first trailer.
So the story, because it's clearly setting up sequels.
Yeah. Oh,
right?
yeah.
So
without a
this
doubt.
isn't about the Robotnik. that we
Robotnik will
want.
be back. Tails will be there.
Right. So what it is the origin story of why Sonic and Robotnik hate each other.
Yes.
Yes.
And why Robotnik becomes singularly obsessed not with anything but destroying Sonic. And
Yep.
this actually validates that.
Yeah.
So character-wise,
It fits.
it's not what we wanted at first, but since it's setting up a larger story, it actually works pretty well.
If anything, it's like a prequel to the established kind of
Exactly.
setup there.
Exactly. It's like the origin story of their rivalry, and I think they actually do that kind of okay at the end.
I
Actually,
suspect
I kind of like how they had Sonic name him Eggman.
Yeah.
because throughout the movie they
called it
name
at the beginning.
They name he names his friend. He's Donut Lord.
Donut
and the
Lord.
lady is Pretzel
Yeah.
Lady.
So
and
he's got this
the egg, so
thing.
he's Eggman. He just names
Yeah.
people
Yeah,
that
just-
way.
and that's
Very
kinda fun.
early, he's
and
got
then
his
of course
drones
that'd be
are
something that would
egg-shaped.
piss him off.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool.
Which is pretty true to in Sonic Adventure. He calls him Eggman, and he's pissed off. He's like,
No,
I'm gonna destroy you."
I'm Robotnik.
Yeah.
I'm not. What do you? Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, his drones are egg shaped, and that's like a
Yep.
big point
And
of
that's
stuff.
why, yeah.
Early in the movie, I lean over to Sarah and was like, "So those things look like eggs to you too, right?" I'm like, yeah. I was like, "All right, that's how. That's what
So
he's
that's
gonna do to
good.
Tom Eggman."
That they, they put
Yeah.
that in.
They made it work.
And it makes sense because if they had gone full bore Robotnik right away,
Yeah.
it would have
Yeah.
been too cartoony to make sense in terms of
The
Earth,
government would
but
never
now
have-
he's outside of Earth.
Yeah.
So he
Yep.
can become even crazier.
Yep.
And they kind of earned it, I think. So it's not the it's not the Robotnik we thought we wanted, but it sets us up for that later.
It's the Robotnik
So
we needed.
We have
Yes,
Tails
to make it make sense, kind of. You know,
We have Tails in on Earth with his own. He had his own way of he had rings to teleport from there.
Yeah.
So he's on Earth now,
and he's hunting for Sonic.
He's looking for Sonic. We also
hunting wrong word.
We also we have Robotnik in Mushroom Hill Zone with the quill still. He still has that and essentially has unlimited energy.
He has a power source, so he'll definitely be able to figure out a way to get off.
Yeah. What do you think is the
Mushroom
likelihood
tank.
that he tries to make a metal Sonic?
I think that's
specifically.
It might not be movie 2. It might be movie 3.
It's definitely movie 2,
but it's going to happen.
100% movie 2.
Well, compared with that, what do you think is the possibility that Knuckles shows up as one of those Echidna Tribe people? My thought is perhaps Robotnik encounters one and goes like, "Oh, I know where you can find him. Work with me, and we'll get him."
How would he do that though? Because Mushroom Hill's different from Sonic's original world too.
I mean, maybe unless it's close enough, or it is the Echidna home world, or something. Like we don't know.
It's going to entirely depend
on
on if they get sued for the use of the Echidnas in this.
That's fair. That's a fair point.
Sega clearly owns Knuckles. Like they can fuck off with rest
Knuckles,
of the Echidnas, and Knuckles
theirs.
can do whatever he wants.
But I am curious if they're going to, because in the games, a few times, but most prominently in the first one, Knuckles goes up against Sonic because Doctor Robotnik tells him, essentially, those two destroyed all my shit. They're terrorists. You need to help me.
And they're trying to steal your emeralds.
Yeah, I think
that's
the
real thing.
I think the Chaos Emeralds are going to be held back from the second movie.
You think so?
I think they're going to hold back on that.
Yeah. That's why I think it's going to be Eggman makes Metal Sonic or Mecha Sonic, whatever they want to do.
Yeah. It'd be very wise to hold those back because actually there was a moment where I
just
thought
hint at Chaos Emeralds existing.
They might do Chaos Emeralds in the second and then go with like a Master Emerald thing in the third, but I think they're going to hold it all back for the third to be like the balls to the wall.
I hope they do
closer.
because there was a moment where I thought they were going to make him Supersonic when he's getting supercharged by the lightning.
And he's
real close.
He's got at the beginning of the movie. I'm like, I bet there's about 50 rings in that bag, and like he collects them all. And like when he goes supercharged while he's holding it, like maybe he goes supersonic.
But then they didn't, and I was glad.
Yeah,
it might have been a fun cameo, but it gives them room to do stuff later.
Yeah, it gives them.
I thought the same thing. I was like, that would be really dumb if he went supersonic right now, right? And then he didn't. I was like, all right, cool, fine.
And I thought Sonic was a little OP, but he gets knocked out twice. So I'm like, okay, they didn't.
Actually,
the game
3
closed,
times.
but it's okay.
He gets tranquilized at the start of the movie.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Midway through the movie, I forget how he gets knocked out for that one because that's when
the car explosion.
Oh, that's right. The explosion next to the car.
And then he gets knocked out in the street.
At the very end, he gets like into the pavement
Yeah.
after going through another portal ring.
Yeah.
And then with the power of friendship, he stands back.
Oh yeah.
Actually, both times, I think, right?
The second time, what does wake? Oh, smelling salts. The second time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The first time he gets up on his own.
That's legit.
Second time is smelling salts. Third time though, he's like, no, I'm not gonna let you
he's
hurt my
friend, and he's like,
and then he woke up.
I can fight now.
Yeah.
Bucket list. Oh come on! I think for a kids movie that is perfectly acceptable.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
the bucket list thing was interesting because
we're not making Casablanca.
Obviously, at first it was subtle enough where I was kind of like, ooh, they're trying to lay this metaphor on, and then they explain it like directly what a bucket list is. They leave out the death part from the description because it's a kid movie.
They say kick the bucket, not die.
Yeah. But like the idea of
everyone knows what that means.
Well, it's interesting because it's like, oh, what's on your bucket list, and then Sonic is now talking about how he's got to leave Earth soon. I'm like, oh my god, they're really leaning into the metaphor that this is a metaphorical death for the character. Like he's going to go to a place where no one else is and be alone completely. Yeah. And it's like, whoa, okay. I wasn't quite anticipating that kind of like metaphor going on there.
So what I'm wondering is if there's obviously going to be a sequel. It's doing relatively well, and they set it up well enough.
Record-breakingly well right now.
It's making enough money that they'll make a sequel. Absolutely.
Yeah. If it's beating Detective Pikachu, I can't imagine they wouldn't.
Yeah.
Which is good, I think.
I mean,
it was good enough that I want to see more.
Detective Pikachu is getting a sequel.
Yeah.
So Sonic is going to get a sequel.
Exactly. So it's good enough that I wanted to see more. I'm totally okay with this. But how are they going to treat Tom Wachowski? Is the movie going to take place on Earth still? It seems like they're kind of setting it up to take place in other dimensions.
I think he'll get left behind a little bit in the second movie.
Yeah.
I think it's going to go the other way. Yeah. I think he's going to get pulled through to one of the other worlds, and he's like, what the hell?
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure he'll be part of the movie, but I think I don't think he'll be as prominent as this movie.
Yeah.
He was required for things to happen in this movie. Now that things are set up, they can do like just Sonic and Tails and Robotnik in action.
Maybe there's a B plot where he gets kidnapped because he's the link to Sonic, or who fucking knows.
That's how Robotnik gets to him, gets him to come out of the hiding or whatever.
So a fun piece of trivia. So this is getting a sequel, probably. Detective Pikachu is getting a sequel. I was trying to look up like how often do video game movies actually successfully get a sequel? Because I'm like, I couldn't think of many. The Resident Evil movies half count because like it's obviously the most.
Four of those?
There's been 7 of them. Really? However,
what the fuck?
Their central, their central. The last one was like 2 years ago. Their central character is completely invented out of whole cloth.
Yeah.
and all of the actual characters from Resident Evil the series show up for like a movie and then vanish.
Yeah.
Like it's really awkward and it's kind of hard to gauge it as like an adaptation.
Are any of those good?
I've heard that some of them are good.
I know
The first
Mortal
couple, I
Kombat
think,
2
is supposed to be
happened,
good.
but that's all I can think of.
Well, so that's the thing. So I looked at it. Tomb Raider is going to get a sequel next year. The last one before that to get a sequel was Tomb Raider back in 2001 and 2003.
Okay, that's the Tomb
with
Raider
Angelina
I'm
Jolie.
thinking of. What was the
I was
recent
like,
Tomb Raider?
how old is fucking Angelina Jolie now? But you're right, there
Alicia
was the other
Vikander,
one.
I think.
Yeah,
is
she
her
was
name?
good.
Alicia Vikander. I might
Based
get her name
only
wrong.
on the trailer, she seemed good.
Yeah, I didn't see the movie, but I heard good things about it. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I thought it was interesting that
that's a fun. That looks like that seems like it'd be a fun dumb movie to watch
Yeah.
sometime.
Prior to that, I think the only other one was Mortal Kombat,
Yeah.
and that is it.
Yeah.
Video game movies.
Wasn't there a
have been-
Super Mario Brothers 2?
Nope. They clearly leaned into the idea of one. They had like Daisy show up and be like, "All right, you got to come back with us,"
Okay,
and then
and
they
then-
never made it. It was trash at
Yeah.
the box office. So
Yeah.
It was trash.
it was trash. It was a terrible movie.
I can't even enjoy it for how bad it is.
The Wizard is a better Mario movie than Super
I didn't
Mario
see that
Brothers
either.
is.
But
So I thought that was kind of an interesting trivia.
Sonic.
yeah, Sonic.
The
right.
bar brawl, the Quicksilver shot in the bar brawl was a really good use of the Quicksilver
Yeah,
shot.
I was gonna say, you know what? I was like a little bit like I've seen this shot so many fucking times in movies, but they did it well enough that I was like, okay,
It felt more involved
Right.
than what I consider like the
Yeah.
original Quicksilver shot
Yeah.
in X-Men Days of Future Past. No,
Something
X-Men
like
First
that.
Class.
Yeah.
Where he's doing some silly stuff, but it's kind of like it's kept within the realm of like, all right, I'm just gonna like, drink that, point that gun that way, that gun that. This one's like, all right, I'm gonna do this. He's like it's a little more
like
8 bar
Goldberg
fights
or whatever.
Yeah,
you know?
and then the string of little flags kind of to knock everyone down is kind of cool.
So yeah, I think they did it well enough that I wasn't pissed that it was there,
Yeah.
and I was ready to be because I'm like I'm so sick of this fucking shot.
It's a little old at this point,
Yeah.
but they did it well enough that it was fine.
yeah,
I
exactly.
think it was probably
Exactly.
good. I'm trying to think of
Any other spoilerific things? I mean, I love the end credits thing where they like redid the events of the movie, but in sprite style kind
Yeah,
of.
that
like
was
it,
cool.
but I wish, and this has been a popular complaint on Twitter as well, as like hire actual sprite
Yeah,
artists.
I mean that's true.
because
yeah.
there were like nothing bothers me more than seeing something that's designed as a sprite where there's inconsistent sprite sizes
Yeah.
and like just rotated sprites that are zoomed in when it wouldn't do that, and it's like. You have access to actual sprite artists.
Yeah,
like
right.
you can do this and have it look good.
It still looked okay, but it wasn't.
It was
pixel
cute.
perfect. And it's supposed to
didn't-
be, but like
yeah,
it was
I didn't
fine.
care. I was
Yeah.
like,
It was
I
fine.
see what they're going for.
Kids are gonna love it.
Yeah,
Yeah, same goes for the music video that went to that song that was used
Yeah.
in the outro. I thought it was
Yep.
so the very opening crawl. You start with a super close up of Sonic, I think in Marble Zone in the first game, and then it like zooms out and you see a bunch of Sega games, and it's like Sega Sammy Company.
Yeah.
And then
I
it
fucking
goes.
laughed out loud because that had one of the like boxes for the game was
Yeah.
what was that one where you're a man flying with a giant rocket? We played it for the Genesis. The
God.
mini.
You know what I'm
talking
Loadrunner, I think.
Huh?
Loadrunner.
No. It's a weird 3D thing.
Oh, that one.
Yeah. What was that called?
Was it not
Whatever,
Loadrunner?
but-
Strider? No, nope.
No, not Strider.
Sorry, no.
It's whatever. We'll look it up later.
But
Put the,
there was a
in the
little clip
text.
and I laughed out loud in the
Yeah.
theater, and
Yeah.
I'm sure people were like, "Dude, it's
Like,
fucking
what?
Genesis games. What's
Yeah.
so funny?"
So it's clear they were kind of shooting for something that evoked the same sensation as like the Marvel
yeah,
Studios thing,
yeah.
because you do that and then it fades out and you go to a red screen and it goes original film,
Yes.
and those are the only words on the screen, and I'm like, do you want to throw like a Sega logo above that or something? We're
Yeah.
just looking at a screen that just says original film. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it just said Sonic, or it just said Sega
Yeah.
transition original film. It wasn't great, but I got it.
but like they
Right.
didn't even match in terms of like what they looked like
Style,
either.
yeah.
So it was just kind of like awkward. It's like, guys, make a Sega original films logo.
Yes.
People will be fine with it.
My right at the end.
That's
Yeah.
not really a spoiler, but
Not
One of
really.
the song, like they start playing this song that's like clearly written about Sonic,
yeah.
and
Oh,
they
yeah.
mention the word Tails
Yeah.
about 15 seconds before Tails is on screen.
I did that
Did
too.
they?
So I'm like,
Yeah.
they just mentioned Tails. I'm surprised they didn't put him. Oh wait, Stinger, and then boom,
Yeah,
Tails.
I did
didn't
the
even
same
know.
exact thing.
Yeah.
I picked up on the word Tails because I couldn't really follow all the lyrics because I'm
Same
bad
here.
at that in general.
Yeah,
so I
same.
heard them mention his best friend Tails or something like that. I was like,
They probably did that
yeah,
on
I'm
purpose, and
surprised
it's
they
like-
didn't do a little stinger for Tails.
Ironically-
And then it popped up and
Yeah,
there was Tails.
as
I was
they're-
like, okay.
As they're panning to a cliffside with nobody on it, I leaned aside. I'm like, I wonder if they're gonna bring Knuckles in as like the stinger of like,
Oh.
ooh, here's the new bad guy, and it's like out hops a thing, and you can see a silhouette, and it's like big ears, and was like, is that
Big the cat?
Rouge?
That would
like
be awesome if it was Big the Cat.
The ears are super prominent.
This
I'm
is
not
why
like-
we don't direct Sonic
Yeah.
movies.
I was like, I saw the ears, and I was like, is that fucking Rouge the Bat? Like
Yeah.
what? And then it's like, oh, okay, here we go. It's Tails, and like. was a fun little.
Can't
sting
believe
on
your
the other.
brain went to fucking Rouge before you
The
thought
ears
of Tails.
looked really big. I thought they looked bigger than they might have needed to look for Tails. But like, it's not like a bad thing. It was just the first thing I thought of.
But yeah,
the thing is that so not a lot of spoilers to talk about because really the plot is basic as fuck.
It's pretty basic.
Yeah.
They do
Which
well
is
to
fine.
avoid the worst
That's not-
tropes
yeah,
of the genre. I think.
I mean that it hits the beats. It's like
Yeah.
first act, second act, third act. It's but like that's okay. Like that's kind of what you probably should do for a movie like this.
Yeah.
Just do something that works. Don't make it suck.
Especially
that's
if you reframe it to reflect what I was sort of talking about, how it's more about the setup for the real Sonic Robotnik conflict we know.
The second one's going to feel a lot more like Sonic.
Yeah, and it's
being
original
formulated
enough that
okay.
I'm not like. It did think everything was fine.
Yeah,
everything was fine.
We should close this thing up.
Yeah.
All right, so
spoilers. We're no more spoilers.
No
in
more
3,
spoilers.
2, 1.
So closing thoughts on Sonic the Hedgehog. I guess it's just that. It's not Sonic the Hedgehog the movie, which weirdly enough was the animated movie from the 90s.
I clearly liked it, I think, the most, maybe, of the three of us. I
That's
definitely
what
liked it more than Ben.
Yeah. But like of the three of us, of course I'm gonna like it the least. I never played Sonic.
Yeah,
like,
Sonic just
I don't
means
care about Sonic so much.
Sonic is inextricably tied to my childhood.
Yeah,
we're talking about like I once cried so hard, not out of like being spoiled, just out of genuine sadness, because my dad promised he would go rent me Sonic and Knuckles on the day it came out.
Yep.
And everyone had already rented all the copies. And he came back and was like, "Hey, I'm really sorry." And my mom and dad are just sitting there, and then I just my heart broke, and I just wept bitter tears. And it wasn't. Mom will tell the story. It's like it wasn't being a spoiled kid thing. It was just you were so heartbrokenly sad. That they had already bought the game for my birthday, and they went in and got it, and were like, "Here,
get it early,
sorry, stop crying, happy birthday, we're so sorry."
Yeah.
You know, like Sonic is I remember my dad making coffee, and the sound the coffee maker makes, like. Syncing with the Knuckles theme from Sonic 3 and that being like an eye-opening moment of universal awareness for me. Like Sonic is just
Knuckles makes coffee.
Yeah, it was just so linked to my childhood that I can't separate it. So
it's part of what makes you.
It really is. People used to make fun of me for running like Sonic on the playground. Like
now it's Naruto, so that's
right, exactly. Sad.
Yeah, but
unless did you do the elbows in?
I did both.
Okay,
I did both.
Well, Sonic does both.
Exactly.
Sonic does this.
Sonic does this, so it must be more.
On the Genesis, regular Sonic did this, and then Super Sonic did this, and then in Sonic Adventure, he just went like hands open, like these arms are useless. Let's run.
His hands just like
so
just flapping in the breeze behind him.
Having Sonic be such like an important part of me, which is so lame to say, but it is.
No.
And then being beaten down so many times by Sega, by all these shitty
they mishandled
games
it.
and marketing.
Even a small triumph means a lot.
Well, when the day Sonic got into Smash, I almost cried. Like
the worst thing.
Thank you.
The worst thing is watching the reveal of Sonic because they put no fanfare to it. They're just like, oh, there's people fighting. Their shoes, and it's like, well, I know it now.
I thought it was a prank at first. I thought it was like a homemade thing on the internet.
Sonic Adventure 3 on the game or on the Wii or whatever.
So I was just so ready for this movie to completely suck,
and
now it's something I'm looking forward to watching with my kids someday.
I thought it was a really successful transition. There really are not many video game movies where you can look at it and go like, you had this game, you made this movie, and I get how you got from one to the other. Mm-hmm. I will always go to bat for DOA, Dead or Alive. I know it's not a good movie. It is not a good movie, but it's a very entertaining movie, and it knows what it is. It is incredibly self-aware.
Yeah.
It visibly is making jokes about itself. It has a volleyball sequence, which is actually written into the plot surprisingly well, all things considered.
All right, I'm sick of your soapbox for defending DOA. All right,
the point being,
Hangover 3.
I can't think. There have been. I counted this morning because I was curious.
3 Hangover movies.
Sonic the Hedgehog is the 41st video game movie to have been released to American theaters.
Wow,
and it is probably at the top of that list of actual good. I've heard arguments for Silent Hill, and I can see that. My biggest gripe with that is anytime they go to a new location, they spend so long with that establishing shot. I'm just like, I'm waiting for a Dark Souls style, the chapel. Sure. Just like fade in. I'm like, oh, this is level 4. Otherwise, fine movie. I would have to watch it again to compare. Yep. Resident Evil, a few of those movies I've heard are really good, or at least are quite good.
They're fine. Yeah. They also they deviate from Resident Evil quite a bit. So it's kind of like,
so
is that Resident Evil? Zombies. It's not really Resident Evil.
But like outside of those, I think it's a plane.
It's a much louder than usual.
It's a much lower plane than usual. You might have heard that on the mic there.
Right?
My hair pointy? I can't tell on the thing there. But yeah, so out of, at least if we're subtracting Silent Hill and Resident Evil, just because those, I've seen Silent Hill, I haven't seen Resident Evil.
Silent Hill, and we're not talking about that. We're talking about Sonic.
I think it might be at the top of the list in terms of just actual quality, which isn't
Genuinely.
a sterling endorsement. Video game movies are overall garbage.
Like
they're
we
really
said.
bad.
Yeah.
Top of the garbage.
Yeah.
I don't.
An average movie that's amazing in context.
Yep.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
It's a really, like, between Detective Pikachu did well, it did fine. Warcraft also did well. It wasn't really my thing, but it did well in the box office. It's actually the highest grossing, just barely over Detective Pikachu. But between Warcraft,
I thought Warcraft was bad. So
between Warcraft and Detective Pikachu and now Sonic, it's like, okay, these are trending upwards.
Yeah.
Finally, it took 30 years to get there, but we're at a point where these movies are actually becoming watchable movies.
Right. We were
well,
saying
like you said,
last
the
night-
people that are working on them, the people that understand
Yeah.
the property.
They get the soul of the thing.
And
they're
the
trying
other
to
piece
do.
of it
They
is
played the game. They
in
get
the
it.
80s and 90s, video games were still sort of on the outside of culture.
Oh, yeah.
But now they're very much just part of our culture.
Yeah.
The plot
in every
of-
way.
Well, the plot of The Wizard was like a kid who everyone thought was a dork because he played video games,
Right.
going to a video game competition.
Yeah.
Like, and his parents just don't understand. Like,
Right.
it's the most obvious, like, oh,
Now
we're making a
pe-
thing for
yeah.
you.
Well,
Like,
now everyone knows in the fucking news that some kid can play Fortnite and win $3 million.
Yeah.
Like, it's like that's
Yeah.
video games
like
are
people.
hugely popular
People are
now.
starting to actually understand.
like,
This is a little
yeah.
bit more than just some basement dwelling nerds that are playing Mario.
They're
What are-
basement-dwelling nerds who now get a lot of money to play
that's
Fortnite.
That's right.
John and I have given our summaries. What about you?
I already said it.
Yeah.
I'm halfway, 20 minutes into this hour and a half long video. Just like the movie overall
Yeah.
is like a 5.5, 6 out of 10. But when you put it in context of like what it is and what it's actually should be compared to, I guess it's like a 7 or 8. It's real. It's good. It's
Even in the context of kids' movies, I think it does a better
Yeah.
job than average of appealing to adults enough to be enjoyable,
Yeah.
while still being definitely a kids' movie.
Yeah.
Like a lot of kids' movies, like they fucking advertise that Minions movie.
Yeah,
Right,
I got an
I-
ad for that too.
Fucking despise that stuff. I would never like. As a kid, I'd be like, "This is garbage," and I would never show it to my kid because
Right,
it's
right.
garbage.
Because those
Unfortunately-
movies are lights and sound that a kid can sit in front of and be like,
And then like people in the theater are
three-
laughing and eating it up, and I'm like, "What is wrong with you? This is so stupid."
The three horsemen of the apocalypse are the Minions,
Yeah.
the fish from oh my god, the Dr. Seuss movie, the Truffalo Trees.
I don't know.
Oh my god, how am I forgetting this right now? The Lorax,
Sure.
the fish from the Lorax, and the Raving Rabbids from Ubisoft and all of those Rayman games. The three horsemen of the apocalypse are the most infuriating characters to exist.
But
don't
it just
know.
like it
all they
makes
do
me
is make noise and scream and boopity bappity, like.
And I'm sorry if
No.
you in the audience enjoy that stuff. I'm sure it's just not for me, but like I just don't get how not only are they not unsuccessful, they're extremely successful.
Minions-
but there's zero substance.
Minions made $1 billion. I think it made more than The Dark Knight.
It's like the kind of dumb shit like
I don't get it.
You could just like we could have written that in a weekend.
I'm sure it was written in a weekend.
Right.
I'm sure
You know, and
it
again,
was.
like no, I don't judge you if you do like it because I realize I'm in the minority. Most people like it, but I just don't get it.
Yeah.
I really don't. But so compared to the Minions,
Yeah.
there's enough substance to Sonic where adults are going to laugh at some jokes, kids are going to laugh at some jokes. It kind of crosses that
Well, that's
barrier
the
in a way that's fun for the whole family.
That's the formula, right? Like Toy Story 3 and 4 had a lot of that too, where it's
Yeah.
like, here's some good kid stuff, and then there's like some real adult horror shit going on. Also, where like, as the parent, you're sitting there going like, oh no, oh no, oh no.
right.
Like,
right.
so would you, I guess we'll start with John and we'll move down this way. Would you recommend people go see Sonic the Hedgehog?
You know, I honestly,
to who, if so?
I honestly would. My only qualifier there is if you have no familiarity or interest in the character, and if that's true, and also you don't have a child or a friend in your life who is, then you can skip it.
So Ben, don't go see Sonic the Hedgehog.
He has a child who's really into it.
I wouldn't have. Oh, finish your. Go finish.
Yeah, so I would say most people will certainly be fine with it, and I think most people on average would probably have enjoyed it enough to not to like be like, yeah, that was worth it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think, again, it's not going to win any awards. It might win Best Kids Movie or something, but like it's just it's a fun family. Right, exactly. Like if you have a
That's
passing
fine.
interest in Sonic or a kid or a friend who loves Sonic, you're going to love it. It's going to be great.
Okay.
I think ultimately I would, in general, not recommend Sonic the Hedgehog.
Okay.
Just based on Like you guys, I get why you want it, but like most of the people that I hang out with, I don't think there's any reason for them to go see it. Most of the people that I know like don't have kids they would want to bring to see Sonic the Hedgehog.
I feel like
I wouldn't have seen it myself if it weren't for you guys. You know, if it weren't for being enthusiastic about it, I would have just waited I would watch on TV at some point maybe just to see what was this, but.
You're also a tougher critic on average. Than
I am, and I
which is
know
good. That's good.
Yeah, we need that.
So it's
everybody loves a curmudgeon.
It's I would only recommend it to someone who's like into Sonic or has a kid that is into Sonic.
Okay. So a pretty actual similar endorsement to Whom, but it's more of a leaning leaning no.
We've actually just been seeing this. We've been saying the same thing this entire review.
Yeah,
I just think I'm leaning more positive. You're leaning more negative.
You have a personal attachment to Sonic, which helps paint that a little bit more.
Yeah, and you're looking at it more objectively, and I'm looking at it more in the bubble.
Yeah.
So I. Only this past week did I really hear stuff that would have made me think otherwise, but I was mostly interested in seeing this movie because of morbid curiosity.
Yeah.
The way that movie was first marketed was like, wow, this is going to be tragic. Yep. Like, it's going to be the most horrifying experiment in... Sonic has never had a live-action movie despite being a thing for 29 years. Like, they waited all this time to make one happen, and they made him look like that. Like, I need to see this so I can... see how people react to seeing that on screen. And they made the change, and when I saw the trailer after they redid it, I was like, that is actually a really like well-made looking, and they did the thing that's really hard to do, which is making Sonic not a smooth blue thing. Like, he had quills that were visible.
Well,
and
the technology's there now to do that for sure.
It didn't look horrible, and it didn't look like just here's a bunch of hair, even though they do have one shot where it goes like poof after he's gone in the water.
But that was fun.
That's a quick little gag. I thought that was cute. But
like gag for a kid, you know?
So I was mostly interested up until this past week out of morbid curiosity. I'm like, is this movie going to be like really bad? Is that going to not be enough? And they're still going to make a bad movie, and it's still going to be like, wow, not only was it bad, you wasted a lot of money making it not better.
And you further ruined Sonic for real fans. And they didn't.
No, they didn't.
Yeah. But I didn't even see that trailer, so I walked into that movie on Wednesday expecting to be horrified.
The little beady-eyed human tooth.
I knew he changed.
You had heard that
character.
They fixed it.
Yeah, I knew they fixed the model, but I was still like, well, it's going to be written like garbage. I only saw the Gangsta's Paradise trailer, so that's what I was going in expecting.
Yeah, that one was bad.
Just with a slightly better CG
Pet
Sonic.
peeve of mine. They keep cutting off the song. In the
trailer?
In the trailer, I was like, stop. If it doesn't fit, then don't use it.
I love that you fixate on that. That trailer sucked for a million reasons.
Oh, it absolutely did. But that's one of the things where me, as someone who likes to like match stuff up with music,
audio,
if it doesn't match, change your cuts or just don't use it. Use something else, anything else. But yeah, so I would say, similar to what you guys are saying, if you are a fan of Sonic, or if you're curious about Sonic, if you've never really played them, you just kind of like
Sonic curious.
Sonic curious. Or if you have kids, probably in the age range of like 4 to like
12.
10,
I don't know
12.
how popular Sonic is amongst kids right now.
This is bringing it back.
Based on my experience in the boys' bathroom, much more popular than I would have guessed.
I would say basically grade school. If you have a grade school child, they're pretty much the target audience for this. Cool. Yeah. I would say, if you're a fan of Sonic, if you're curious to try like looking at new Sonic stuff, or if you have a kid that's that age, those are probably the 3 main target demos.
Or if you just like lighthearted kids movies.
Yeah, it works as standing alone as a movie, not as an adaptation, not as a video game movie. It's fine. It's actually pretty decent. I was pleasantly surprised.
There's definitely worse ways to spend a couple hours.
I was pleasantly surprised that I didn't have to like make excuses or clarifications about the movie. It's like, well, it's a good movie if you remember that it is a video. It's like, no, it's a fine movie. Okay. It does fine.
And they did not. I'm sorry to cut you off real quick.
No.
They did not commit the cardinal sin of so many movies of overstaying its welcome. It wrapped up under 2 hours, and I think that was right. I think if it had gone on any longer, we're like, okay, we get it. He's fast. Like
the two worst things to me were Jim Carrey's overacting. He was like mugging a lot at the start of the movie. That could have been softer.
But we all understand why.
Yeah, the sister-in-law was also one where I'm like, I could use a little
less. That was I hated that.
Okay, we do need to extend this a little bit because I kind of have to. I did not understand. They did not set up or why did she hate him so much?
Because it's funny when your in-laws hate you.
But
like,
they just
that
was
bad writing. That
was
there
like some racial subtext there?
There might have been a little bit.
I really don't. And then like it's
There was
kind of
no
fucked up that they just
reason
bound her.
for
Like
Yeah,
oh,
I do
spoilers, I guess.
appreciate-
Sorry, maybe you can like put a tag there.
I think we're too late for that at
Sorry.
this point. But like, I do appreciate that at the end of the thing where it's like, do you think she mind if we borrow her car? And he's like, yes. And he's like, no, I don't think she'll mind.
Yeah.
They run off and she goes, this is my house. I'm
Yeah.
like, that was a good joke for the end of that whole sequence of like her being like, what is wrong with you people?
that only worked because we had by that point accepted how ridiculous it was.
Yeah.
That and the latte one,
Yeah.
which
It
they
was-
burned in the trailer. I didn't realize that they burned in the trailer.
It's funnier with the context in the movie.
with the
though.
context. Yeah, like,
I
I
just-
love the way you make them. Like,
All of that
good
whole
joke.
thing with the sister was completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
added nothing, and then
they
just
needed
got
an excuse
dropped.
for JoJo. They needed
Yeah.
JoJo to be there to give him the sneakers.
Yeah.
But that could have been
a million different ways. The sister could have just been like a normal level
Yeah,
bitch.
it was just
Not
so
like this
weird.
nuclear, ruthless,
I think
like,
they
horrible
basically
thing.
they needed to solve three things. They needed Sonic to wake up. They needed Sonic to get his sneakers, and they needed somewhere to be that was outside of Green Hills.
It could have been anywhere. It could have been from anyone. I don't know. Whatever.
I
We
don't
don't
know.
need to dwell
I'm
on it.
fine
I guess.
if
but
If they got
wrote the sister to
separated.
be a
It was
bitch,
just
but this is
so-
way over the
If
It
they
was
got
just
separated, they could have done a
bizarre.
thing with that. They could have been like, "Oh, he's looking for Sonic. He can't find him. Sonic's passed out somewhere." And this girl sees how busted up his shoes are and gives him her obscenely expensive $15,000 Puma shoes.
Well, I don't think in universe they're that much, but
I would really hope not.
but yeah,
It
that
was-
I
it was
will
just
give you that.
bizarre.
That was a
that
rough set.
that took some points off from me.
I
for
was just
sure.
like, "What are you doing?"
Right,
Anyway,
yeah.
whatever.
It was kind of like again they
We
played it
should've
over
touched
the
on that
top.
before,
They
now
played
it's
it over
too
the top for like the laughs, you
Yeah.
know. But I think it
Yes.
was a little too much,
I don't know.
Yeah.
a lot too much.
But yeah, I think that's about all we really.
Yeah, I
Oh!
think we have said plenty.
One last thing I want, one very short thing I do want to throw a quick like thumbs up for was at the beginning of the movie, you see Sonic running from Robotnik, and I'm just like, oh, they're gonna do the thing. It's a
The
90s
freeze
game. They're
frame,
gonna do
yeah.
I bet you're wondering how I got here, and they almost word for word say
They only-
exactly
they-
that. I was
yeah.
like,
I kind of wish
knew
they
it.
did a literal record scratch.
I was waiting for record scratch.
And they did.
The only
Yeah.
other thing that I would have liked is if it showed that Sonic was recounting all of this in the space of like a couple footsteps in that chase.
Oh, that would have been funnier.
Like if it's like he's running and he's doing it in his like slow-mo thing and he's just been rethinking the whole
Yeah,
thing as he's been running or something.
But it was
But
fun, you know.
it was
And
fun. It was a
again,
good thing.
for a movie that's based on a '90s property that's meant for kids, I'm
Yeah.
perfectly fine with that framing.
They did a
device.
fine job with it.
Totally fine.
Yeah.
You know.
Cool.
All right.
All
Well, I
right.
think that's about it. We'll come back next time, probably finally to do the Avengers. We've been putting that one off for a while.
Remember when I
get that
said
one
gotta
going.
go fast? This wasn't fast.
No, it wasn't very fast. It was one of our longer ones ever, but bye.
Love you.